Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Jodo Jake. Welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, I'm going to tell you why Journey Together does not suck. You've just been spoiled, and that's all it comes down to. But in all seriousness, I want to talk about why Journey Together is actually a great set. It has a lot of elements to it, a lot of fundamentals that make it a strong set, and I think it is a set that will do well in the long term. We can start off by just addressing Journey Together came out in March of this year. It came out after Prismatic Evolutions, arguably one of the biggest sets of 2025 so far. It's the evolution set of Scarlet and Violet. It's basically Evolving Skies 2.0 in a lot of people's minds. I disagree, but that's just me. And it brought back Trainers Pokemon, which is a really cool vintage aspect of the Pokemon TCG. When people think of, Trainers Pokemon, they go back to the Wizards of the Coast era. And what Journeying Together did is that it did that with like a modern spin. And so we see Enzoroark, we see Lily's Clefairy, and we see Hop Zacian, and we see Iono's Bellibolt. An interesting aspect of this is that these are trainers from the last 4 generations. We got N from Black and White, we got Lily from Sun and Moon, Hop from Sword and Shield, and Iono from Scarlet and Violet. I think it's great when we see mechanics from the old Pokemon that we grew up with brought back in a new era, in a new spin. So it's a healthy thing for the Pokemon TCG to adapt those models to a modern audience, and this is a great example of that. We can go back and take a look at some of the first trainers Pokemon, which was from Gym Heroes and Gym Challenge. We have the Sabrina's Gengar, we have the Erica's Clefable from Gym Heroes, we have the Blaine's Charizard and Erica's Venusaur from Gym Challenge. Phenomenal cards, just very reminiscent to the early days of Pokemon. They were the first generation, first trainers, so there's a lot of nostalgia that comes with these cards. To see that they brought these back is really exciting. Now, they did this with just not only like the holos and the illustration rares, special illustration rares, but they did these with just commons and uncommons, with the little window into those trainers, right, with their heads on the corner of the card. Very reminiscent to, like I said, those Gym Heroes and Gym Challenge cards. It would be cool to see them add their elements, or I would say their badges, the way that they did in Gym Heroes and Gym Challenge. That's just something that I would have liked to see. I would have been really cool to see like those gym badges with like a hollow pattern behind them, even on like the non-hollows. I think it would just be really cool to have that little bit of flair. But here we have En's Reshiram, Lily's Cutiefly, we have Hop's Wooloo, and Iono's Kilowattrel. And these all have illustration rares, which, illustration rares often feature a wide range of just Pokemon and their everyday experiences, right? Including, relationships with other Pokemon, but we're seeing them with their trainers in these, kind of similar to Trainer Gallery from Sword and Shield, which I genuinely love. Some of the best cards of the Sword and Shield era. It's really nice to see that instead of it being like Starmie V, we're getting, Misty's Starmie, but in this case, it's N, Lily, Hop, and Iono. And I love that trend. It's just an emphasis on the relationship between the trainer and their Pokemon. And it's something that we've seen over the years that I think is really important. I'm not the biggest trainer collector, but I gravitate towards these cards that aren't focused on just the trainer, but the relationship between the trainer and their Pokemon. And we see more of that in these cards here. These are the EXs of Journey Together. We have Enzoroark, Lily's Clefairy, Hop Zacian, and Iono's Bellibolt. Again, these are just the typical EXs that you can pull. They're nothing special, but they're what a lot of the TCG players will use to have like the cheapest of the EXs. But then we have this really cool new full art EX that we got for all of those Pokemon that we just took a look at. But now they have like this like phantom ghostly like outline of the trainer in the background, that I think is a nice touch. I think these are some of the best full arts that we've seen in a while. The textures look great on these in both English and Japanese, and I think they would look really nicely paired with their higher rarity special illustration rares. So, I mean, we got some really good special illustration rares in this set. I think that there's been a lot of hate on these. I think people's biggest complaint is that, or there's two big complaints, right? We didn't get trainers from older generations. We didn't get some ultimate chase card. But I think that the Lily's Clefairy is phenomenal. The Enzoroark is phenomenal. The Hopzation is fantastic. Iona's Belly Bolt, I'm a little indifferent on. I do like it, but I think these four cards are really, really nice. There's something really nice about that Lily's Clefairy. That contrast between the pinks and the greens in this card really, really pop. And yeah, they don't get enough love. I don't have any of these yet in PSA 10, but I'm going to start picking them up soon because some of them are really well priced. I think the Hopzation is probably like 120 to 150 in a 10, which seems fair to me. I haven't been able to find any of these cards raw to grade, but maybe I find some of these at Card Party. We'll see. Another really cool aspect to Journey Together has to take us back to Legendary Collection. Now, Legendary Collection was a Wizards of the Coast set. It was technically a reprint set of a lot of the previous sets that included the firework pattern reverse hollows, which at the time was not of interest. People thought of them as sticker cards and they thought it was lazy. But as time went on and sentiment has changed, now knowing that they're hard to grade, the firework pattern actually looks really nice, especially in different lighting. But the big thing about Legendary Collection is that it introduced box toppers. Now, these box toppers were jumbo size. They were about 3.5 by 5 inches, if I remember correctly. And when you would open one of these booster boxes of Legendary Collection, you would get one of these 4 box toppers. And on the back, there's like a checklist that tells you like what cards are in the set. It was a really cool addition to the booster box. What Journey Together did is we have this normal booster box, as you can see, but it also has an enhanced version, which includes a promo card that we all have commonly got together and just called it a box topper. Now, this box topper was not a jumbo size card. It's just simply a regular promo card that was put right on top of this booster box here. And it was the Ends Reshiram, which is a phenomenal illustration rare with the Journey Together stamp on the right side. What was unique is that this card was also a card that you could pull in the set. So you can pull the non-stamped version in the booster box, as well as getting the box topper with the stamp on it from the booster box. And what I see interesting about the investability of these two booster boxes really comes down to the confusion and the unknown. So when Journey Together first was dropping on Pokemon Center, it was known that it was an enhanced booster box. And it was the first time I've ever seen a booster box sell out on Pokemon Center the day of release. It was actually insane to see. But the rumor was that the enhanced booster box was only available through the Pokemon Center site. So I think that's the real reason why this booster box sold out so quickly, was because people thought that this was their only way of getting that box topper booster box. And if you were to buy a booster box from an LGS, a local card shop, you wouldn't get that enhanced one with that red logo on the box. And so at first, this enhanced booster box was extremely expensive in comparison to the one without. Just a few people have really realized that this booster box without the promo might actually be rare, because this booster box without the stamp, the red logo on it, is the one without the box topper, was given as the box given for pre-release. So people could take packs that they won from the tournament. I actually don't know if there's a non-enhanced booster box case for that booster box. So I need to pick up a non-enhanced booster box so that I have one of each. I have a case of the enhanced and I think 1 or 2 loose booster boxes, but it's definitely something that I would like to add to my collection if there is a case of the non-enhanced. And what I mean by the unknown is we really don't know. At the end of the day, we don't know which one's rare. We don't know which ones are getting reprinted. I would imagine the one with the box topper is the one that we're going to get reprints of. I don't think that they're going to give us a box topper and then stop reprinting it. It would be really odd to see that, especially in the demand in the market that we're in. I don't think Pokemon Company wants to create more problems than they already have. Then again, they did just drop a Gengar Charizard set, and I'm sure that set's been in the design phase for a long time, so no shade to them, but they're constantly just creating more hype as time goes on. I think that this is a really cool booster box. I love the fact that you have this opportunity to have two different versions of that booster box. I can't remember a time that we've seen something like this ever. So if you can and you can afford it, I mean, there's going to be reprints of Journey Together without a doubt. So you'll have more opportunities, but the non-enhanced one, I don't know. And I'm not trying to create FOMO into buying into any of this because we truly don't know. But if you really want to add these boxes to your collection and you can afford it, I would recommend doing so. At least one of each, right? And the next thing I really want to talk about is the box and the ETB's design. Like, just from a visual standpoint, they look phenomenal. If you actually, I'll probably throw this into the final video, but if you compare all of the booster boxes from Scarlet and Violet side by side, the rest of the booster boxes, all the mainline sets, they look dull and boring compared to the Journey Together one. And it reminds me a lot of the colors from Fusion Strike. You have those blues and pinks, but it also gives me like this 90s water cup vibes. I don't know if you've seen or have ever drank out of those cups with like the pinks and blues and teals. It reminds me of that a lot. I think these designs look phenomenal. I love the design with the trainer and Zoroark on the ETB. That looks phenomenal. These ETBs definitely stick out too. I know that the prismatic one is nice and clean with that white background, but it doesn't have a lot of color aside from like the Terra Stones. This ETB looks really, really good. So if you can afford picking up a Pokemon Center ETB, a Journey Together, I would. I think that one's still, it's high, but it's nowhere near as high as some of the others. So if you can afford it, pick it up. Also, let's talk about the pack arts. We got trainers and their Pokemon on each of these pack arts. Really nice, clean and simple. I think they're attention grabbers. The colors they use, the fact that you have trainers on the booster packs. I mean, aside from Destin Rivals, can you remember a set that has this since like, or the early days of like Team Rocket, Gym Heroes, Gym Challenge? I'm probably blanking. There probably are booster packs with trainers, but it doesn't happen often. So it's cool to see a modern set have these. Lastly, I just want to talk about some of these half arts, and these are just commons, uncommons, non-holo cards from Journey Together. These are insane. Like the Metagross illustrated by Arita. If this was a Cosmo holo, this Cubone, I've never seen this artist before. I'm sure maybe I have. I never paid attention, but this Cubone is epic. Illustrated by Mugi Homada. Beautiful, beautiful card. Next, we have this very silly coughing illustrated by Rond. Love the colors, the atmospheric tones, beautiful. And then this Articuno, are you kidding me? Like, if this was like a full art, like a special illustration rare of Articuno, it would go so hard. This perspective that Wada illustrated, the perspective of you as a trainer hiking a snowy mountain and all of a sudden you encounter this legendary bird. The way it looks like it's swooping down on you like you're about to enter no man's land, I love it. It looks so good. And there's a few more. This Metapod, I love the symmetry that's going on, the colors, the way that the lines wrap. It's really nice and subtle, illustrated by Akubo. And then we have this Iono's Voltorb. I love the neon colors, gives me comic book art style. Very, very cool illustration by Yasukuni. And then we have the Magmortar shooting its cannon. There have been cards that have been banned in English because it's looking like it's pointing its cannon directly at you. So I'm surprised that we got one like that, illustrated by Matsuno. Love it. I love the composition. And then last but definitely not least, we have this Noibat illustrated by Kamiya. Kamiya is just a fan favorite, one of my favorite illustrators. He just really stands out every time you see his work. This wraps up my video on why you're hating too hard on Journey Together and why it's actually a great set. Hopefully I change your opinions at least a little bit. So if this set drops down to a price that makes sense for you, I would pick a few booster boxes up, maybe some ETBs. Don't forget those 3-pack blisters either, because those have the Cosmo Holo cards, and I'm making a video on that too. So if you want to see that, make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are on Journey Together. Do you think it gets a little too much hate? Let me know. And until next time, y'all, happy collecting. Peace.